The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with voices from 800 different worlds. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to Nexus Prime for what the ancient Vorthak elders called an emergency meeting. The crystalline beings stood at the center of the chamber, their bodies glowing with soft blue light as they prepared to speak. Elder Kethmiran stepped forward. His voice reached every corner of the massive room, speaking both through sound and directly into the minds of those who could hear thoughts. We have called you here to speak of danger. The humans have joined our Federation. This must not continue. We have called you. The humans have joined our Federation. Ambassador Zelnara of the Zalari Trade Empire laughed out loud. Her snake-like body coiled as she spoke. Humans? Those weak mammals from the outer rim? Elder, you worry too much. They barely learned to travel between stars 50 years ago. War Speaker Karn of the Threnodi Empire struck his ceremonial blade against the metal floor. The sound rang through the chamber like a bell. Our scouts have studied the humans. They have no natural weapons, no hard shells, no poison, no mind powers. They are soft and weak compared to real warriors. The mechanical voice of Corvani Technarch Chi 7 joined the conversation. Our computers have analyzed human technology. They are 300 years behind us. Their ships are simple. Their weapons are basic. Their thinking machines are like toys. Elder Kethmiran's ancient eyes grew dim with sadness. He had lived for over 10,000 years and seen the rise and fall of many civilizations. You see only their tools. You do not see their hearts. The world they call Earth is not just a dangerous planet. It is a place that creates warriors like nothing else in the galaxy. The elder's voice grew stronger as he continued. We have watched humans for thousands of years. They do not just survive when their world tries to kill them. They become stronger. Ice ages come, and they learn to make fire. Asteroids fall from the sky, and they dig caves. Volcanoes destroy their cities, and they build new ones. Each time they face death, they refuse to die. Zelnara's laugh grew louder. Pretty words, Elder. But we have seen human ships, 12 small vessels, 3 tiny colonies. They accepted the Federation's rules, without question. They follow every law we give them. How can such obedient creatures be dangerous? Because they are watching, Elder Kethmiran said quietly. They are learning. They are waiting. Technarch Key 7's mechanical head turned toward the Elder. Our analysis shows humans have fought each other for their entire history. If they cannot even live in peace with their own kind, how can they threaten advanced civilizations? That is exactly why they are dangerous, the Elder replied. Humans do not just fight to win. They fight to survive, and they have learned to survive everything their terrible world could throw at them. Floods, fires, earthquakes, diseases, ice, heat, and each other. They do not know how to give up. War Speaker Karn stepped forward, his massive form towering over the crystalline Elder. Even if this is true, they are one small species on one small world. The Threnodi Empire alone has 500 battle fleets. The Corvani Collective controls 1,000 star systems. The Zalari trade networks span half the galaxy. What can one species do against all of us? Elder Kethmiran looked at each of them in turn. We have seen it before. 3 million years ago, the Kethvar Empire ruled this galaxy. They were stronger than any of you. Their warriors could break mountains with their thoughts. Their ships were powered by captured stars. They believed nothing could challenge them. Thanks for watching. And Afentiuzi, what happened to them? Asked a small voice from the back of the chamber. It came from Ambassador Pex of the Weaver Coalition, one of the newer species in the Federation. Humans happened, the Elder said simply. Oh. They were not called humans then. They were called by another name. But they were the same species. They lived on the same world. And when the Kethvar tried to enslave them, the humans showed the galaxy something new. The chamber fell silent. Even the proudest of the assembled representatives wanted to hear this story. The Kethvar sent one fleet to control Earth. The humans destroyed it. The Kethvar sent 10 fleets. The humans turned the wreckage into weapons and destroyed those too. Finally, the Kethvar sent their entire space navy, 1 million ships strong, to burn the human world to ash. Elder Kethmiran's voice grew very quiet. The humans did not try to fight 1 million ships. Instead, they did something the Kethvar could not understand. They made the sun itself into a weapon. They lit up their own star like a torch and burned the Kethvar fleet to nothing. Impossible, Technarch T7 said immediately. No species has technology to control a star. The humans did not use technology, the elder replied. They used mathematics and patience and the willingness to take any risk to protect their home. They spent 50 years learning how their sun worked. They built machines in secret. They prepared for a battle they hoped would never come. And when it did come, they were ready. Ambassador Zelnara's laugh had stopped. You are telling us stories, Elder. Old tales to frighten children. Look at their system, Elder Kethmiran said. Look at the asteroid belt between their 4th and 5th planets. Those are not natural asteroids. Those are the remains of Kethvar ships, still orbiting their sun, after 3 million years. The chamber erupted in arguments and debates. Some representatives called for immediate action against humanity. Others demanded proof of the elder's claims. A few suggested that the story, even if true, happened so long ago that it meant nothing now. Through all the noise, Elder Kethmiran stood quietly. Finally, he spoke once more, his voice cutting through the chaos. We are old. Our time is ending. Yours is beginning. We offer you this warning not because we fear humans, but because we respect them. Do not make them your enemy. Do not force them to show you what they are truly capable of. War Speaker Karn slammed his blade down again. The Threnodi fear no one. If the humans threaten the Federation, we will crush them like any other enemy. Then you will join the Kethvar in those asteroid fields, the elder said sadly. The vote was called. 847 species cast their decisions. The elder's warning was rejected. Their request to limit human expansion was denied. Their plea to study human history more carefully was ignored. As the elders gathered their robes and prepared to leave the chamber, Elder Kethmiran sent one final message into the minds of all who could receive it. When the stars burn with human fire, remember that we tried to warn you. The great doors closed behind the elders. They would not return to the council chambers again. Their ancient ships, silent for centuries, powered up and departed Nexus Prime forever. The galaxy watched them go and felt only relief. The old warnings were finished. The future belonged to the young and strong. None of them noticed the small human observation ship that had been quietly recording everything from the edge of the system. Ambassador Kim Min-jun reviewed the recording carefully before sending it back to Earth in a coded transmission. The message was simple. They think we are harmless. Begin. Phase 2. 6 months had passed since the elders left the galaxy. The human embassy on Federation Station, Gamma 7, looked like any other minor diplomatic office. Ambassador Kim Min-jun met with trade officials, filed the required reports, and followed every Federation rule perfectly. To anyone watching, humanity had accepted their place as junior members of the galactic community. Their small fleet protected only Earth and 3 colony worlds. Their trade was limited to basic materials. Their technology seemed primitive compared to the great powers. But appearances could be misleading. Dr. Sarah Chen worked in the station's research section, officially studying galactic biology. Her real job was much more important. Every day, she gathered information about the Federation's member species. Her reports to Earth painted a disturbing picture. The galaxy was built on fear and control. The Threnody Empire ruled through military might, but their warriors were bound by honor codes that made them predictable. They would never attack without warning. They would never retreat from a fair fight. They would never use tactics their ancestors would call cowardly. The Zilari controlled trade through economic pressure and bribery. But individually, they were cowards. When faced with real danger, they always chose profit over courage. Their trade fleets were heavily armed but poorly trained for actual combat. The Corvani Collective had the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Their computers could solve problems no organic mind could understand. But they had become dependent on their machines. When their artificial intelligence told them something was impossible, they believed it completely. Worse, Dr. Chen discovered that many species had been destroyed or enslaved by the Federation. The peaceful Meritani had been driven from their ocean worlds when rare minerals were found in their seas. The artistic drift singers were now confined to prison ships because their songs supposedly disrupted galactic harmony. 3 entire civilizations had simply vanished from Federation records after questioning Council decisions. While Dr. Chen gathered intelligence, Captain Elena Rodriguez commanded the human patrol ship Times Defiance *. The Federation considered it a small, harmless vessel suitable only for protecting merchant convoys. They did not know that every human ship had been secretly modified. Human engineers had studied captured Federation technology for months, not to copy it, but to understand its weaknesses. Threnody ships were heavily armored, but slow. Corvani vessels had powerful weapons but obvious blind spots. Zilari craft were fast, but could not take serious damage. They have been fighting the same way for thousands of years, Captain Rodriguez told her crew during a training exercise. They have forgotten that war is supposed to change. On Earth, General Park Sung-ho oversaw humanity's real military development. Hidden bases across the planet produced weapons and ships the galaxy had never seen. Human doctrine was simple: be ready for anything. While the Federation built specialized ships for specific roles, humans designed vessels that could adapt to any situation. While alien species relied on their natural advantages, humans developed technology to overcome any disadvantage. While other civilizations grew comfortable with their place in the galactic order, humanity prepared for the day they might have to fight everyone. The first test came without warning. The human merchant vessel New Horizons Times was traveling through the outer spiral when 3 Zilari pirate ships appeared. The pirates expected an easy target: a slow cargo hauler with minimal defenses. Captain James Parker was a former Earth military officer who now ran supplies to human colonies. His crew were all veterans, pretending to be simple traders. The New Horizons Times looked helpless, but appearances were deceiving. "Attention, human vessel," came the pirate transmission. "Prepare to be boarded. Surrender your cargo, and you will not be harmed," Captain Parker replied calmly. "This is the merchant ship, New Horizons *. We are carrying agricultural supplies to New Sol Colony. We have no weapons and request safe passage." The lead pirate ship moved closer, confident in its superior firepower. The Zilari captain believed humans were too weak to fight and too valuable as slaves to kill unnecessarily. He was wrong on both counts. As the pirate ship approached, Captain Parker suddenly accelerated into the nearby asteroid field. The New Horizons Times, was smaller and more agile than its attackers. It darted between rocks too large for the pirate ships to follow safely. "What are they doing?" the Zilari captain hissed. "Are they trying to escape through the asteroids?" His answer came when the New Horizons Times, suddenly reversed course and fired from behind a large rock. The humans had mounted hidden weapons throughout their ship. Mining lasers became cutting tools. Cargo manipulators became missile launchers. Even their navigation deflectors had been turned into electromagnetic pulse generators. The first pirate ship took heavy damage before its crew realized they were in a real fight. By then, Captain Parker had disappeared behind another asteroid. The pirates tried to follow, But the humans knew the asteroid field better. They had mapped every rock, calculated every orbit, and planned for this exact scenario. The second pirate ship tried to retreat when its partner was destroyed. It discovered that the Times New Horizons Times had friends. Two more human ships appeared from the asteroid shadows. The freight hauler Times, Iron Horse Times, and the passenger liner Times, Bright Future Asterisk. Both were also crewed by veterans. Both were also much more dangerous than they appeared. The pirates' final transmission was cut short by an explosion. The official report filed with Federation authorities mentioned a tragic accident where pirate ships suffered reactor failures while attempting to navigate a dangerous asteroid field. But word spread through the galactic underworld. Some humans were not as harmless as they seemed. Pirates began avoiding ships that flew Earth flags. Slavers stopped raiding human colonies. Criminal organizations marked human space as too dangerous for easy profits. The Federation authorities noticed the decrease in piracy around human worlds, but assumed it was due to increased patrol activity. They never investigated further. After all, humans were a minor species with primitive technology. What threat could they possibly pose? Dr. Chen's analysis suggested otherwise. Her latest report to Earth was deeply troubling. The Federation has grown lazy and arrogant. They have not faced a real challenge in over 1,000 years. Their military tactics are outdated. Their political structure is corrupt. Their technology has stagnated because they believe they are already perfect. More importantly, she continued, they have made enemies of dozens of species who would gladly see them fall. The Maritani still remember their lost worlds. The Drift Singers dream of freedom. Even some Threnodi and Corvani are growing tired of Federation politics. General Park read her report carefully before issuing new orders. Human diplomats began making quiet contact with oppressed species. Human merchants started trading with Federation outcasts. Human researchers shared medical technology with worlds the Federation had ignored. Slowly, carefully, humanity was building a network of allies that the great powers knew nothing about. Ambassador Kim Min-jun continued to attend Federation meetings and follow every protocol. He never complained about humanity's minor status. He never demanded better treatment or more resources. He simply watched and listened and reported everything back to Earth. When other ambassadors discussed him, they always said the same thing. The humans know their place. They cause no trouble. They make no demands. They are perfect, junior members. None of them realized that Kim Min-jun was counting their ships, mapping their bases, and learning their secrets. None of them suspected that humanity was not content with their assigned role in galactic society. The galaxy continued to spin peacefully. The great powers continued their ancient games of politics and profit. The Federation continued to believe that their system would last forever. They had no idea that everything was about to change. The emergency alert reached every Federation world at the same time. Long-range sensors had detected massive ships approaching from outside the galaxy. The Devourers had returned, after 1,000 years of absence. War Speaker Karn stood before the assembled Federation Council, his armor gleaming under the chamber lights. The enemy fleet consists of 300 bioships, each one capable of consuming an entire planet. They have evolved beyond our previous encounters. Our standard weapons appear to have reduced effectiveness. Technarch Chi 7's mechanical voice added cold analysis to the report. Initial contact resulted in complete loss of 3 exploration vessels. The Devourers have developed organic shielding that absorbs energy weapons and converts the absorbed power into stronger bioelectric attacks. Ambassador Zelnara coiled nervously in her seat. How long before they reach the core worlds? At current speed, 6 months, War Speaker Karn replied. But they appear to be accelerating as they consume asteroids and small moons for raw materials. Each attack makes them stronger. The Federation's response was swift and massive. Every member species contributed ships to the largest military fleet in galactic history. Threnody battle cruisers formed the backbone of the force. Corvani dreadnoughts provided overwhelming firepower. Zilari, Fast attack ships would handle reconnaissance and support. Ambassador Kim Min-jun listened to the battle plans with growing concern. The Federation was preparing to fight the Devourers exactly as they had 1,000 years ago. Massed fleets in direct confrontation. Overwhelming firepower against superior numbers. The human contribution will be 3 patrol vessels, War Speaker Karn announced. You will handle communications and supply coordination from the rear areas. This battle requires experienced warriors. Not. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Support personnel. Kim Min-jun nodded politely. Earth understands. We will serve wherever the Federation needs us most. If you... What he did not say was that humanity had already begun preparing for this war in their own way. Dr. Chen's analysis of the Devourer attacks painted a grim picture. They are not fighting like a military force, she reported to General Park via encrypted transmission. They fight like an ecosystem. Every attack teaches them something new. Every victory makes them stronger. The Federation's tactics will fail because they assume the enemy thinks like they do. Captain Rodriguez received new orders aboard the Times Defiance Asterisk. Her ship and 2 others were officially assigned to logistics support, well behind the front lines. Unofficially, they were beginning humanity's real war against the Devourers. The first major battle was a disaster for the Federation. 2,000 ships attacked the Devourer fleet in the Kepler system. War Speaker Karn led the assault personally, confident that superior numbers and firepower would carry the day. Instead, the Federation learned that the Devourers had evolved far beyond their previous capabilities. The bioships absorbed energy weapon fire and used the power to grow stronger. Their organic hulls adapted to kinetic weapons by becoming harder and more flexible. Worst of all, they demonstrated a collective intelligence that learned from every attack and shared that knowledge instantly across the entire fleet. The Threnody charged forward in perfect formation, their honor-bound tactics making them predictable targets. The Devourers sacrificed smaller organisms to damage the larger ships, then sent swarms of biofighters to finish them off. Corvani dreadnoughts, for all their massive weapons, could not maneuver effectively against enemies that moved like living creatures rather than starships. Within hours, the Federation lost 40% of their fleet. War Speaker Karn ordered a retreat, but the Devourers pursued, having learned to track Federation faster than light signatures. As panic spread through the galactic government, Captain Rodriguez watched the battle reports from her position in the rear guard. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Kim Soo-jin, shook her head sadly. They are fighting harder instead of smarter. Look at those energy readings. The Devourers are literally eating their weapons. Could we do better? Asked Chief Engineer Wang. Captain Rodriguez studied the tactical displays. The Devourers expect enemies to fight like the Federation. Big ships, direct attacks, energy weapons. But what if we gave them something they have never seen before? Meanwhile, on Earth, General Park received authorization for something that had never been tried before. The Global Defense Council voted to offer humanity's full military capabilities to the Federation. But only if humans were given complete control of the war effort. Ambassador Kim delivered the proposal to what remained of the Federation Council. Earth offers our assistance, not as a junior member following orders, but as a species that has survived countless extinction events. We have studied the Devourer attacks. We believe we understand their weaknesses. But we need full authority to use unconventional tactics. The response was immediate and dismissive. Technarch Chi 7 calculated the odds automatically. Human technology is primitive compared to Federation standard. Human tactics are untested against this enemy. The probability of success using human methods is less than 3%. War Speaker Karn was more direct. Humans will follow Threnody battle doctrine or remain with the supply ships. This war requires proven warriors, not experimental theories. Even Ambassador Zelnara, despite her people's losses, rejected the human offer. The Zilari have fought the Devourers before. We know what works and what does not. Human ships are too small and too weak for this battle. As the Federation prepared for an even larger second assault, determined to redeem themselves through greater displays of conventional force, the human ships quietly began moving to new positions. Captain Rodriguez had received new orders from Earth, orders that had nothing to do with Federation command structure or battle plans. The human reconnaissance ship times, whisper times, disappeared from all sensors, using experimental stealth technology to begin what its crew called real intelligence gathering. Captain Lisa Zhang and her team began mapping the Devourer fleet in ways the Federation had never attempted. Instead of observing from safe distances, they infiltrated Devourer space. Instead of analyzing general capabilities, they studied individual bioships and their specific functions. Instead of preparing for direct confrontation, they looked for weaknesses that could be exploited through unconventional warfare. What they discovered changed everything. The Devourers have a critical flaw, Captain Zhang reported to General Park. Their collective intelligence depends on specialized communication organisms spread throughout their fleet. Destroy those, and the bioships become individual animals acting on basic instinct. Can we target these communication nodes? General Park asked. Not with conventional weapons, Captain Zhang replied. But human tactics were never conventional. As the Federation massed their remaining forces for another massive assault, human ships began implementing a completely different strategy. Small, fast vessels, using stealth technology to avoid detection. Surgical strikes against specific targets rather than direct ship-to-ship combat. Most importantly, tactics designed to turn the Devourer's own evolution against them. Captain Rodriguez addressed her crew aboard the Times Defiance Times as they prepared for their first real mission. For the past year, we have let the galaxy see us as harmless support vessels. They have dismissed us, ignored us, underestimated us. Today, we show them why Earth breeds survivors. The merchant vessel Times New Horizons Times approached a Devourer bioship while broadcasting Federation surrender codes. The enemy expected easy prey, a damaged cargo vessel seeking to bargain for its crew's lives. Instead, they were about to encounter something their evolutionary experience had never prepared them for. Humans who fight dirty, think creatively, and refuse to accept defeat, even when facing impossible odds. The real war was about to begin. 3 months passed, and the galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity's guerrilla campaign achieved what the Federation's massive fleets could not. The Devourers, who had seemed unstoppable, were retreating from system after system. The war had become something entirely different. Human ships did not engage Devourer bioships in direct combat. Instead, they targeted the communication organisms that maintained the collective intelligence network. Captain Rodriguez led wolfpack attacks that struck these neural nodes and vanished before the enemy could respond. The Times New Horizons asterisk, still disguised as a damaged merchant vessel, had become humanity's most effective weapon. Captain Parker and his crew used their harmless appearance to get close to Devourer bioships, then deployed specialized weapons that disrupted the creature's nervous systems. The beauty of it, Captain Parker explained to his crew, is that they cannot evolve defenses against attacks they do not understand. Every previous enemy fought them directly. We fight their biology. Quote, Captain Zhang's intelligence operations had penetrated so deeply into Devourer space that human agents now monitored their breeding cycles from inside captured bioships. The information they gathered allowed humanity to predict enemy movements and strike at critical vulnerabilities. But the Federation Council remained skeptical of human success. When reports reached Nexus Prime of yet another Devourer retreat, War Speaker Karn dismissed them entirely. Humans are scavengers, he declared to the Emergency Council session. They attack only after our main fleets have weakened the enemy. They contribute nothing to real victory. Technarch Chi-7's analysis supported this view. Human ships are too small to cause significant damage to bioships. The observed Devourer retreats must result from cumulative damage inflicted by Federation forces. Only Ambassador Pex of the Weaver Coalition dared to question this assessment. Perhaps we should examine human tactics more carefully. Their success rate is statistically improbable if they are merely scavenging. Statistics can be misleading, Zelnara replied smoothly. The Zelari have traders throughout that region. We see what actually happens. The humans arrive after the real fighting is finished. What none of them knew was that Dr. Chen had been carefully feeding false information to Federation intelligence networks. Human ships appeared to arrive after battles were decided, when in reality they had been present all along, using stealth technology the Federation could not detect. The deception was necessary because humanity's real strategy required the Devourers to believe they were winning. General Park's plan was unlike anything the galaxy had ever attempted. Instead of trying to destroy the Devourer fleet through direct confrontation, humanity would trick them into destroying themselves. The key lay in understanding how the Devourers evolved. They did not simply become stronger. They became more specialized. Each successful defense made them better at countering that specific type of attack. But specialization meant vulnerability to unexpected threats. We will teach them to defend against everything except what we actually plan to use, General Park explained to his senior officers. The Federation's energy weapons made them resistant to energy. The Corvani's kinetic rounds made them harder and more flexible. Now we will show them something they cannot adapt to: their own home. The Devourer home system lay outside the galaxy, a place no Federation ship had ever reached. Captain Zhang's reconnaissance missions had mapped the route, but the real discovery came from studying captured Devourer biosamples. Dr. Chen's analysis revealed something extraordinary. The Devourers were not a natural species. They were the result of genetic engineering gone wrong, created by a long-dead civilization that had tried to build the perfect biological weapons. Their original creators embedded a kill switch, Dr. Chen reported, a specific genetic sequence that causes complete cellular breakdown. The Devourer's evolution has hidden this weakness, but it still exists. Can we activate it? General Park asked. Not with conventional methods. But if we could expose the entire fleet to their home system's unique radiation signature. The plan that emerged was audacious even by human standards. While the Federation prepared for another massive assault, humanity would secretly guide the Devourer fleet toward their home system. Once there, they would trigger a stellar event that would bathe the entire area in the specific radiation needed to activate the genetic kill switch. But first, they needed to ensure the Devourers believed they were chasing a fleeing enemy. Ambassador Kim received new instructions from Earth. For the first time since joining the Federation, humanity would openly defy galactic authority. Earth formally requests permission to attempt our own solution to the Devourer threat, Kim announced to the Emergency Council. We believe our unconventional approach may succeed where traditional tactics have failed. The response was immediate and furious. War Speaker Karn slammed his ceremonial blade against the floor so hard it cracked the metal. Humans will obey Federation military command or be declared traitors to galactic civilization. Our analysis indicates a 97% probability that human intervention will result in total mission failure. Technarch Chi 7 added coldly. Zelnara was more practical in her threats. The Zelari Trade Consortium will impose economic sanctions on any species that supports this human rebellion against proper authority. Kim Min-jun listened to their anger with perfect calm. When they finished, he delivered humanity's response. Earth appreciates the Federation's concerns. However, we have decided to proceed independently. Any Federation forces that attempt to interfere with human operations will be considered hostile. The silence that followed was deafening. Never in Federation history had a junior member species openly defied the Council's authority. War Speaker Karn found his voice first. You dare threaten the Federation with your 3 patrol ships? Kim's smile was cold as winter on Earth. War Speaker, you still do not understand what humanity truly is. We are not threatening the Federation. We are informing you of our decision. The difference is important. As Kim left the council chamber, several species began secret communications with Earth. The aquatic Mertani, still bitter about losing their ocean worlds, offered the use of their hidden fleet. A group of young Threnody warriors, disgusted by their leadership's inflexibility, provided detailed intelligence on Federation military positions. Most surprisingly, a faction of Corvani scientists approached Dr. Chen with an unprecedented offer. Led by Technarch Shi Prime, these rebels had been secretly developing artificial intelligence improvements that their collective government considered heretical. They offered their advanced computational power to humanity in exchange for protection. We have watched human innovation, Shi Prime explained, through encrypted channels. Your species thinks in ways our programming cannot predict. We wish to learn from you. Looning, as humanity's alliance network expanded, the real plan began to unfold. The merchant vessel, Times New Horizons Times, suddenly appeared in the Devourer fleet's path, apparently fleeing toward the galactic rim. The bioships, confident in their superiority, began pursuit. What they did not know was that Captain Parker was leading them on a carefully planned route toward their original home system. Human ships, invisible to Devourer senses, herded the fleet like shepherds guiding livestock. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Devourer home system, something unprecedented was taking place. Human engineers, working with stolen Corvani technology and Meritani gravitational manipulation techniques, were preparing to turn a star into a weapon. Dr. Chen's team had spent months studying the home system's unique properties. The star was old and unstable, ready to release massive amounts of specific radiation with the right trigger. All they needed was to ensure the entire Devourer fleet was in position when the stellar event occurred. As the bioships chased the apparently fleeing Times, New Horizons Times deeper into their home territory, they began to feel confident again. They were returning to the place of their birth, where they would be strongest. Soon, they would consume the humans, and then return to finish conquering the galaxy. They had no idea they were flying into the most elaborate trap in galactic history. Captain Rodriguez, monitoring the operation from her hidden position, watched as the last Devourer bioships entered the target zone. All units. This is Time's Defiance. Asterisk. The enemy is in position. Prepare to show them what humans learned from studying their sun 3 million years ago. The stars themselves were about to burn with human fire. The Devourer fleet filled the home system like a living cloud. 300 massive bioships, each one the size of a small moon, had gathered to consume what they believed would be their final victory. The human vessel Times, New Horizons Times, floated helplessly in the center of the formation, apparently crippled and defenseless. Captain Parker smiled as he watched the bioships move into position around his ship. After months of running and hiding, the Devourers finally had him trapped. They were savoring the moment, preparing to slowly consume his vessel and crew as an example of human weakness. They had no idea they were exactly where humanity wanted them. All Devourer bioships are within the target zone, reported Lieutenant Kim Soo-jin from her hidden monitoring post. Stellar manipulation devices are charged and ready. General Park, commanding the operation from a stealth ship at the edge of the system, reviewed the tactical display one final time. Months of preparation had led to this moment. Human engineers working with defected Corvani scientists had turned the Devourer Homestar into a weapon more powerful than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Chen, confirm the genetic trigger frequency, General Park ordered. Confirmed, came the reply from Earth. The stellar flare will produce exactly the radiation signature needed to activate the Devourer kill switch. Their own creators built this weakness into them 4 million years ago. General Park took a deep breath. All units, prepare for stellar ignition. Remember, this is not just about destroying the Devourers. This is about showing the galaxy what happens when they underestimate humanity. The Devourer bioships began their final approach toward the Time's New Horizons asterisk. Their collective intelligence was focused entirely on the prize before them, the last human ship, ready to be consumed. They did not notice the small gravitational anomalies appearing around their home star. Human technology had learned much from studying the Federation's mistakes. Where other species built massive weapons that announced their presence, humanity developed subtle tools that could reshape reality without being detected. The gravitational manipulation devices were smaller than a human fist, but working together, they could trigger events that would reshape entire star systems. Initiating stellar cascade, reported the chief engineer aboard the stealth ship Times Prometheus asterisk. Gravitational compression charges are active. Solar magnetic field manipulation is online. All systems show green. Captain Parker, still playing his role as helpless prey, opened a communication channel to the Devourer fleet. This is Captain Parker of the human vessel Times, New Horizons asterisk. We surrender unconditionally. Please do not harm my crew. The response came from the largest bioship, a creature so massive it could have swallowed Earth's moon. Its voice was a mixture of organic sounds and electronic signals, translated by human computers into words of cold satisfaction. Humans will be consumed. Your resistance has taught us much about warfare. Your species will provide excellent genetic material for our evolution. I understand, Captain Parker replied humbly. We only ask that you make it quick. What the Devourers heard was defeat and surrender. What General Park heard was the code phrase that meant all human personnel were clear of the blast zone. Execute Operation Sunburst, General Park commanded. The gravitational manipulation devices activated simultaneously. Invisible forces reached into the heart of the Devourer home star and began compressing specific layers of stellar material. The process was invisible and silent, detectable only by instruments designed specifically to monitor stellar mechanics. The Devourers noticed nothing until their star began to change color. The home star, stable for billions of years, suddenly flared with new energy. But this was not a random solar event. Human engineers had carefully calculated exactly which frequencies of radiation would be produced, and when, and in what quantities. The stellar flare that erupted from the Devourer sun was beautiful and terrible. Waves of golden light swept across the system, carrying with them the specific genetic trigger that would end the Devourer threat forever. The bioships tried to flee, but it was far too late. The radiation moved at the speed of light, reaching every corner of the system in minutes. As it touched each Devourer vessel, ancient genetic programming activated. The kill switch that their creators had built 4 million years ago finally triggered. Massive bioships began dissolving from the inside out. Their organic hulls, evolved to resist every known weapon, offered no protection against their own genetic code. The collective intelligence that had made them so dangerous collapsed as individual organisms died by the billions. Within hours, the entire Devourer fleet was reduced to harmless organic debris floating in the light of their own sun. Captain Parker and the crew of the Times New Horizons Times watched in awe as their greatest enemies simply ceased to exist. Well, he said to his communications officer, I guess we won. But the victory against the Devourers was only the beginning. News of humanity's triumph spread across the galaxy within days. The Federation Council, still reeling from their own failures, could not deny the evidence. The species they had dismissed as primitive and harmless had achieved something no galactic civilization had ever managed: the complete elimination of an extinction-level threat. Ambassador Kim Min-jun returned to the Federation Council chambers for the first time since humanity's declaration of independence. The same representatives who had laughed at elder warnings now sat in stunned silence as Kim delivered Earth's terms for a new galactic order. The Federation as currently structured has failed, Kim announced without ceremony. Your rigid hierarchies, your species-based castes, and your refusal to adapt have nearly led to galactic extinction. Earth proposes a new system based on cooperation, innovation, and respect for each member's unique capabilities. War Speaker Karn, his pride shattered by Threnody military failures, could only nod in agreement. The humans have proven their strength beyond question. The Threnody would be honored to learn from your tactical innovations. But not all Federation species accepted the new reality gracefully. The Zelari Trade Consortium, led by Zelnara, attempted to maintain their economic control through threats and manipulation. They discovered that humanity's transformation of galactic politics extended far beyond military might. Human economists had spent months studying Federation trade networks, identifying the corruption and exploitation that kept certain species in power. Human diplomats, trained on a world where dozens of nations had competed and cooperated for millennia, proved extraordinarily effective at building coalitions among previously powerless species. The Mertani, given new hope by human promises, reclaimed their ocean worlds with Earth's backing. The Drift Singers were freed from their prison ships and allowed to return to their nomadic lifestyle. Species that had been silent for centuries began demanding representation in galactic government. Within a year, the old Federation structure had completely collapsed. In its place rose the Galactic Confederation, built on principles that would have seemed impossible before humanity's arrival. Voluntary cooperation, technological sharing, and the radical idea that diversity made civilization stronger rather than weaker. The most surprising development came when the ancient Vorthak elders returned from their self-imposed exile. Elder Kethmiran met privately with Ambassador Kim aboard the restored eldership times Ancient Wisdom *. Your species has done what we hoped but feared to believe possible. The ancient being communicated through gentle telepathy. You have not merely survived first contact with galactic civilization. You have improved it. Kim's response reflected humanity's new understanding of their role among the stars. The elders taught us something important, even if we learned it late. Strength is not about being the most powerful species in the galaxy. It is about making everyone else stronger too. The new Confederation faced many challenges. Old prejudices died hard. Economic systems built on exploitation did not transform overnight. Some species still believed in the superiority of their own kind. But humanity had planted seeds of change that would grow for generations. Human schools began accepting students from across the galaxy, teaching them not just human knowledge, but human ways of thinking, creativity, adaptability, and the stubborn refusal to accept that any problem was truly unsolvable. Human merchants traded not just goods but ideas, spreading innovations and techniques that had been hoarded by their creators for millennia. Human diplomats worked tirelessly to resolve conflicts that had seemed permanent, applying lessons learned from Earth's own violent history to help other species find peaceful solutions. Most importantly, human explorers ventured into the void beyond the galaxy, establishing monitoring stations and early warning systems to ensure that never again would any civilization catch them unprepared. The galaxy had learned what the elders had tried to warn them about. Humanity did not conquer through superior force or advanced technology. They conquered through the much more dangerous ability to adapt, innovate, and inspire others to be better than they believed possible. As Ambassador Kim stood on the observation deck of the new Confederation headquarters, watching ships from hundreds of species working together in ways that would have been unthinkable just years before, he remembered the elders' final words from so long ago. The stars did indeed flame under human influence, not with the fires of destruction, but with the light of civilizations learning to reach their true potential. And in the deep space between galaxies, automated human monitoring stations scanned endlessly for new threats, ensuring that the next time danger came calling,